give me fuel, give me fire, give me that old Chinese eye.
Oh yeah, it's Wednesday night and we're soft. We're not just anywhere tonight. We are in the last great Coliseum. So glad you could join us here on YouTube. Good evening, everyone. I'm Alexander Ned, joined in the booth by Rashaf. We are in for quite an exciting show tonight because we have 250 miles around this virtual Bristol Motor Speedway, and it's not a question of if somebody's going to make contact, but when.
Yeah, Alex, it's going to be absolutely crazy. Thankfully, we're not doing the full 500-lap event here at Bristol, but 250 is still going to be a pretty long night for a lot of these guys, and it's just going to be a busy night. A lot of tensions, of course, as we're just 3 races to go, including tonight, before we get into chase racing. So guys are desperate to get into that chase. You can see there the weather for today and what this racetrack looks like. Just over half a mile long, high banks, concrete surface, and you're about to see the grid begin to roll off here, and we'll start showing you guys who qualified at the front of the order.
28 degrees of banking, I believe, or I'm sorry, actually, I believe it's 33. I just know that I came here, and TV, virtual or in real world, does not do it justice, just how high these banks are here at Bristol. It's quite the sight as you take a look at the running order there. David Tooker for Pro Edge racing on the pole. He has last week's winner there, Scott Crump, to his outside, and we are just moments away from getting the green flag here. Quick thoughts, Rashad, for this one?
Yeah, I mean, let's get in for potentially a long one here. We know the history of elite racing and short track sometimes as we go through the rest of the grid here. I'm hoping, I took part in the truck race earlier on Sunday, and we didn't have a ton of cautions earlier on in the race. I think later on maybe a few more popped up, but we had some good green flag running initially. So hoping that we get something like that again. Hoping these guys can behave themselves a little bit earlier on in the show. But we'll see. I mean, we know this next-gen car has been tricky for people to get a handle with, and of course this track is notoriously tricky. And there you go, Scott Crump with a blink as well early on, leading the field. That could be precarious heading into turn number 1.
Well, the virtual pace car is in. That means the green flag is out, and America's Best Value in 250 underway here at Bristol. And David took her out to an early lead. He's bringing along his teammate Tate Lytle with him. A little bit of a jumbled start on that outside lane by Scott Crump, and he has a mirror full of Chris Wright in that 20 car as everybody gets the first lap underway here at Bristol.
Yeah, really early jump there for David Tooker. That allows his teammate Tate Lytle to slot on by, and now you got Pro Edge 1 and 2. Meanwhile, Chad Frankenfield is trying to get around the outside of Chris Wright. Remember, these two have a history, and expect that to potentially come together here at Bristol, unless they're potentially evened out here, depending on how the race is going. Meanwhile, fastest lap of the race just that last time by Andrew Rucker in the 7th position, up 1 from his starting spot. Expect a lot of action, a lot of movement throughout the field here tonight, and we're about to find out how many grooves exactly there are going to be around this racetrack. Early in the run, though, looks like you can run both the top and the bottom and still be competitive. Expect guys to probably migrate towards the top, though, as the run goes on.
They repaved this track here back in 2010, and it took out a lot of what people called the old Bristol there, which was basically bottom feeding, kind of beating people around. on the bottom, from getting them off the bottom lane and moving them up top. Now with that, since that repeat, we've been able to see 2 lanes really work well here at Bristol. And I'm like you there, Rashad, we don't necessarily know exactly what lane is going to be. I think if you have a good car and perhaps make the right adjustments, you can use that bottom lane to your advantage. But so far, what we've seen lately is everybody has been migrating up to the top.
Yeah, that's generally been the trends here. But again, we'll kind of pay attention and see what guys are doing. You can still see here, like that 20 car of Chris Wright is still wrapping the bottom as they exit turn 3 and 4. And I mean, the laps are ticking really quickly here. But Andrew Rucker as well follows the 20 there on the bottom line there. So it's not quite like the truck race from earlier in the week. Where basically you had to be on that top lane, otherwise you were guaranteed to lose positions out on this restart. Right now, guys are able to run all over the racetrack and still be competitive in terms of lap time. Again, we'll see as the run goes on, because right now guys are still very close by. And speaking of close together, I mean, here we go. David Tooker versus Tate Lytle, teammates at Pro Edge Racing, going for the lead here on lap 10.
Yeah, and they haven't driven away really from 3rd or 4th place. Everybody's still kind of underneath the blanket. And something about Bristol, you click off a lap time here so fast, and they're already catching the back end of this pack here. Lap traffic will definitely be a factor here tonight. And I say that because we know how well lap traffic has played a role into defining these races here, especially this season.
Yeah, here we go already, just 12 laps into this event and finding their first lapped car all the way at the back. I believe that's Casey Hatch there in the number 14, so he hasn't had a great start to his night, and he's going to have to let all of these cars by. Look out for Chris Wright here, who's trying to take the bottom. He's going to get kind of boxed in there behind Casey Hatch, has to slot up. So Hatch able to use that bottom lane to get out of the way, but the problem is with both lanes working, it's going to make this race even more complex, because guys who are trying to pass on bottom lanes are going to have a tougher time. And here we go, top lane working for Tate Lytle as he takes over the lead from David Tooker.
Gonna get a quick look at the point settings before tonight's race, but I believe Tate Lytle is still your point leader.
He is.
And he's out to an early lead right now. He's been able to take that away from David Tooker, who's now under pressure from the 90 car. That's Scott Crump taking a look underneath. And here comes Chad Frankenfield, still in search for that first win.
Yeah, Frankenfield rocking that pink car, a recommendation from the league to run pink schemes or any pink details on their cars for breast cancer awareness. So, again, another great initiative here by the Elite Racing Leagues. They really do a good job with this, and for the past 2 or 3 years that I've been involved in Elite, every October these pink cars, the pink banners will appear, and it's always a great cause that they end up showing off for here and racing for. So a great thing to see there on that bright pink Days Gone By Ford Mustang. Chad Frankenfield trying to put that one in victory lane for the first time this season.
Ooh, a little loose off the corner right there. He'll give a little bit of time up to the 31 of Gerald Campbell, who's riding along in that outside line. Rasav, you were just talking about your performance in the truck race here. Talk about this 2-lane groove and how frustrating it can be, perhaps if you're on the bottom of the racetrack trying to clear that guy up top, but you just don't get a shot at it.
It's so frustrating because of the high banking here at Bristol. You can really roll a lot of speed around the top lane here and get just incredible runs off the corner. And we're seeing this right here in the battle between Gerald Campbell and Chad Frankenfield on the track, where Chad's taking that shorter route around. He can maybe even dive the car into the corner a little bit better, but I mean, even there you see. But Gerald Campbell gets such a great run off of the corner that you just can't compete with that if you're running on the inside. You really have to have much better grip, or just have a better racing line in general, or be ready to dive in and cut off the drivers as the yellow flag is out for the first time tonight.
Looked like an issue on track for a competitor, perhaps in the back of the pack. Looks like our 12 car. Ooh, David Westergreen, is he involved?
Ooh, just a self-spin there for David Westergreen in the 10 or in the 12 car for Lake Norman Motorsports. Just a really quick snap and hard into the inside safer barrier there on the pit road. So that brings out that first caution. No real runoff here at Bristol either. So you crash the car anywhere, you spin it out anywhere, you're pretty likely to bring out a caution here.
Yeah, I'm impressed that we haven't seen the yellow flag there early. That is our first one of the night. Lap 23 in the books, 250 going to be put in after some hard work. But Tate Lytle, our early leader, you have a little bit of the benefit of how the track is running right now. But do you decide to go down pit road here early?
That's something I was literally just thinking about. It's a good question. I'd probably stay out just right now. You don't know how many cautions there are going to be. Just 23 laps on our tires. It's a reasonable amount, but I'm just looking at, in terms of lap times, it's actually kind of hard to tell based off just their last lap time. I think some people will come down, some people will stay out, but expect guys with track position to stay out. If I'm running maybe 15th on back, I'd probably want to come down pit road, and we're seeing that where guys towards the back are making that call to pit here. The highest ranked driver is Jared Rexing in 10th position, who's decided to come down pit road, but for the guys with track position, you stay up there, you maintain that track position for right now. I think around 30, 40, maybe even 50 laps on tires, if we have a caution around then, is where you'll want to make that first pit stop.
Let's also talk about the protocol for going down pit road here under caution versus under the green flag. Just like in real NASCAR, under caution flag, these guys will go down and take the backstretch and the front stretch as far as pitting under yellow. When the green flag is out, you can go on to just your own pit stretch.
Actually, in iRacing, as far as I'm aware, it could be different. I know there's two different versions of the Bristol track. I'm not quite sure which one we're running. Again, just going off of the recent history that I know that they've raced for the past two races here at Bristol, you have to run the entire pit road even under green flag conditions. So it's very, very advantageous to only pit under green. You do not want to pit your car under green flag conditions because you will probably go down I want to say 5 laps or so, maybe even more.
That's very interesting. I did not know that. So excuse me, I don't even know what the penalty would be if you just did go down your pit stop, or I'm sorry, your pit wall kind of stretch right there. But yeah, you will definitely. That is something that if we do get a green flag pit stop in, that green flag stretch or cycle is going to be very, very. Drivers are going to be biting their nails because you do not and you cannot afford to go multiple laps down here early.
Yeah, I think most of these guys are all banking on the fact that they're going to pit under yellow flag conditions. You just kind of have to wait for that to come out. They should have enough fuel on board to run about 90 laps, probably even more here around this racetrack. So generally that shouldn't be a concern, and I think you'd rather run those tires down to basically completely bald before ever risking bringing that car down under green flag conditions just because you're losing so much time on track.
All right, so pace car is in. Tate Lytle, the control car, he gets the early jump. Scott Crump on the outside. We're back under green here at Bristol. Here comes David Tooker trying to take advantage of that inside line. Can he get second place away from Scott Crump, who's taking a look to the outside? Ooh. And there's Johnny Thomas as well into the mix.
Oh, Johnny Thomas, so I think was probably trapped a lap down or something, didn't quite get going underway, so he's now completely blocked up that inside line. You saw that almost took out Scott Crump as, car on the wall just a little bit further back. Not too sure who that was. That was the 64 of Andrew Rucker as he was moving up, so he tapped the wall. But yeah, Chad Frankenfield almost turning Scott Crump as they all got kind of stopped here by Johnny Thomas, just trying to stay on this lead lap, or is just now down a lap to Tate Lytle, but is now creating a gap for Tate Lytle between himself and the rest of this crew of cars.
And that was interesting there. I didn't see exactly why he went suddenly a lap down, but that took us by surprise, I know, up in the booth, because he suddenly just appeared, and those guys behind him, Scott Crump and David Tooker, all had to react in quite a way that actually became a disadvantage for them. They lost quite a bit of time. Tate Lytle now out to almost a second lead on this second pass.
Yeah, Tate Lytle looking really good right now as the field dives into turn number 1 and turn number 2. Watching Scott Crump here as he's still, I think, trying to clear that 91 of Johnny Thomas. There he is. So
yellow flag is out.
Ooh, here we go. So yellow flag out again in this race. So Tate Lytle has to check up. So this is another issue with this race. Guys have to check up. The pace car, you see there, comes out right in front of these cars. So they basically have to grind to a halt to let this pace car go on by. So Johnny Thomas, who wasn't by Tate Lytle, he'll have to wait and try and get the lucky dog. He will get the lucky dog. But let's go back here and show you guys what happened on this particular caution.
That'll be something to keep an eye on as we take a look at the replay. Does it involve Chuck Sweeting? Survey says
Caleb.
Whoa! Some serious net code going on right there, or perhaps he just lost it kind of in the same area, and another competitor does not get a chance to avoid him as well. Let's take a look again. Watch the 04 car just break loose.
That might be netcode. That's definitely netcode.
Yeah.
That's like 3 feet of netcode because that car just suddenly turned left.
Woo!
Hard
I don't know if
hit.
you want to be around Chuck Sweeting there. I don't know if netcode, excuse me, if that's on the 04 or if that's on the 75 there, but seriously, something that sent that car, I mean, it was like possessed.
Yeah, that was something else, wasn't it? I mean, netcode typically occurs in the relationship between the two cars. I think iRacing is unique in how it connects people because it connects you directly to the person that you're nearest to, I believe. So you're not all connected to a certain. So, yeah, man, I don't know. That's, yeah, I mean, netcode, you can't call that incident on anybody. I'm sure race officials will look at that and see the same thing we saw as just Caleb Thompson suddenly got a hard hit, really unlucky for him. But a hard hit of netcode, and that's really going to mess up the race for the 04 car. He should still be in it, maybe a lap or two down, but, and at Bristol, who knows what can happen, but definitely not the way you want to start your night out just 35 laps into this one.
The second caution flag is out here looking at the front. I don't believe anybody's going to pit, so that takes us, or gives us a chance to go to our first commercial break. So we'll be right back here. Don't go anywhere. You're watching the America's Best Value in 250 right here, the Last Great Coliseum.
My name is John Cunningham with C2 Freight Resources. We are a Hub Zone certified logistics company here in Houston, Alabama. We've been in business for over 20 years, working with the Department of Defense and the federal government, among many other customers. C2 is committed to truckload shipments along with less than truckload shipments across the United States, Canada, and Mexico. Our high level of service is what keeps our customers coming back year after year. Our industry-leading transportation management software, along with our tracking software, allow our customers to know where their shipments are at any time, any day. In closing, C2 Freight looks forward to earning your trust and business through actions day in and day out. We know if given the opportunity, you'll be pleased with our service and communication.
Welcome back. Cleaning up the second caution of the night, Tate Lytle, your leader, Scott Crump on the outside. Green flag back in the air. We are underway once again, the America's Best Value in 250. Johnny Thomas was the beneficiary of that last yellow flag, so he is back on the lead lap and won't be a factor for these lead lap cars currently. As the front four make it 5, trying to get away. In that 40 car, you see Ryan taking over for Tyler Foley, who is still on that 3-race suspension, but he is inside the top 10, trying to make it the top 5 on the outside of Chad Frankenfield.
Yeah, Ryan Barbieri, I've worked with him before within the Lake Norman Motorsports team. A strong racer, made a pretty quick run up from the Truck Series as a rookie last year, all the way up to the Cup Series, now filling in for Tyler Fody. So doing a good job right now here at Bristol, running in the 5th position. So keep an eye out for Ryan Barbieri. Looking pretty good in that number 40 car. He likes these short tracks, so could put together a pretty good result here.
Right now, it's been able to get past Chad Frankenfield, who slips back now into the 6th position. Still watching these cars and trying to look at the groove that they are using there. They're kind of running half a lane up on the bottom, but not a lot of people actually migrating to use that real top side right there. There goes the 40 car right there. But it's interesting. I think these guys are still very much searching to see what line works for their race car here.
Yeah, and you're seeing here, Chad was able to dive it in pretty well there, on the 15 car, pretty much all the way at the bottom, like you said, about a lane off the bottom. You can see, though, just the drive off that the 40 car gets by staying up high. That's just, pretty generic at any track with a reasonable amount of banking, and so that's kind of what he's working with right now. But with guys all running up top, Barbieri now looks to the bottom to try and get by Gerald Campbell, but has that same issue that Chad Frankenfield was just running into. So it's kind of interesting where guys don't want to run up high, but if you're defending your position, going up high is a pretty nice place to be honest.
Yeah. I always say go where they're not.
Yeah.
But that's easier to say than perhaps do, especially now 46 laps in on this run. It is still a side-by-side battle. Gerald Campbell, reigning champion, still in search for that first W of the season. And this battle is actually heating up quite nicely for that 6th position there. Gerald Campbell, I'm sorry, 4th, as he is rounding some people on that outside lane. Take a look from the back bumper. What a shot this is.
Yeah, on board with this 40 car here is R.C. Anderson running around the outside. Chris Wright just behind him. There you see Barbieri's been stuck on the bottom here for a few laps, and that's really allowing these guys to stay in contention. He's doing a great job, though, hanging with these guys. You know, if you're on the bottom, you have to try so much harder to just stay in touch with the rest of this group. And Gerald Campbell, maybe if he holds up that top line enough, Barbieri can slot back in front of this 31 car. You can see he has great drive into the corner. He's just not quite able to clear before they exit the corner. But here we go. This 40 car looking strong. He might try and clear up here coming off of 4. Not quite there.
Ooh, he tried, though. And you can see a lot of these guys now starting to migrate higher.
Yeah,
there goes the 40 car, and a slight contact between past champions here of the sport, the 15 and the 31 car.
Yeah, I think Campbell is struggling right now. He's just been passed on the inside by both the 40 and the 15 on the past couple of laps. Now the 50 car is having a look at Gerald Campbell. So I think 31 car here just not finding the grip right now. Maybe going too high. Oh, it's Andrew Rucker.
2 cars are in it and spinning. Can everyone else avoid them? 1 car barreling into the accident scene. That's just how quickly things can change here at Bristol. Scott Haney gets around Andrew Rucker right there. But 2 cars on the outside wall in turn number 2.
So Dustin Dewar gets to the bumper of Andrew Rucker, and that's what ultimately turned around that 64 car. So Rucker already with some damage on the side, but it was a hit by Dustin Dewar that really caused this incident. So here we go. Watch this 32 car again. You'll see him getting close. There's going to be just a quick tap there as he tries to go for that kind of duck back down to the bottom, and from then on, Rucker is a passenger. We saw in the
misjudged it by that much too. It wasn't very much.
Yeah, but
he tried to do the crossover move, and there's another competitor that gets involved in this as well. Look how close Matthew Weeks gets through the accident scene. It's the 83.
83 there. Trey Holmes also gets some pretty big contact from that one. But yeah, I mean, Matthew Weeks, what an avoidance job there. Let's actually see if we can grab an on board with that 11, because that's going to be an exceptional look.
Meanwhile, cars are going down pit road right now, currently. Looking at some service, so you're not really missing a thing. But yeah, I'm with you. Take a look at what I would call the good hands, good move of the race so far here at Bristol.
All right, here we go. On board with Matthew Weeks. This is the incident. So there you go. Dewar actually hits the wall just a little bit there. Here these guys go. And
woo! Take a look at the slow-mo.
No contact there for Matthew Weeks. A great, avoidance there. Very fortunate to miss all of that. But here he is back out on pit road as we're back to live pictures.
So everybody using that caution flag to come down and get some new rubber, fill it full of Sunoco fuel. Looks like Chad Frankenfield is going to be our leader. Chris Wright, Jacob Adams, and Vincent Isabella, who is filling in. Want to give a shout out to that 37 car there. Haven't mentioned him much this season, but Vincent Isabella doing a great job inside the top 5 so far, and he's filling in for Ethan Burrell in that 37 machine.
Yeah, car's running a little bit slow right now, just behind the pace car. It's rolling around really slowly, it kind of feels like, but just trying to make sure we're not still stuck in in our slow motion as we actually are, I believe. There we go, back to live pictures.
Yeah, they brought down the pace speed, very much so. But it looks like, so Chad Frankenfield, don't know exactly what happened to Tate Lytle, David Tooker. Tate Lytle, whatever that pit stop was, if it was on strategy, he lost 8 positions there. As I would imagine, everybody taking 4 tires and fuel there, so perhaps a miscue getting into the box there that cost him.
So I'm curious, Alex, you obviously got a chance to watch the next-gen test in person, I believe. How similar was that, watching that to what you've seen in iRacing? How similar do those cars really drive to what we've seen so far?
Well, I will definitely say this. The next-gen car up close, oh my goodness, this car looks amazing. It's just BA. It sounds different as we are about to drop the green flag. Chad Frankenfield hard on the gas. I actually haven't been able to drive this on iRacing yet. I have not bought this car, so I would not know exactly versus the little stock cars that I have. I think I have a 2013 one or 2016. Hey, times are tough. I'll get to that next-gen car here eventually. But from the real viewed counterpart, I think iRacing has actually nailed it down. And I'm so excited. Being a part of that next-gen test there yesterday, or the past 2 days, really quite something for fans to look forward to. I believe we are definitely on the right direction for the future of this sport.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing these cars take on real racing. Of course, in the Elite Racing Leagues, we brought it in half a year earlier to allow for, a little bit of an early introduction of this next-gen car. And I think while guys have been getting used to it, I think it's put on some incredible races at tracks where we might not have normally expected to see incredible racing. I'm especially looking, and remembering back to Indianapolis, where we had a fantastic back and forth between drivers, and a number of other events where we just had the race continuing on. Michigan, the larger tracks is really where this next-gen car seems to excel. But even here at a short track like Bristol, guys are still running side by side, 2 by 2 for 4 rows here behind the leader.
And in the real world, this is going to be the first test for the next gen as we go to the LA Coliseum for the Clash to begin the 2022 season there. And they actually have a upcoming test at Bowman Gray in North Carolina to see a tire test with Goodyear to see how these cars will react. So I am quite excited. The first race for this car is going to be on a short track, and it's going to be shorter than what we're seeing here by a full 1/4 race mile distance, as we see that bottom line now suddenly is jammed up by the 37 car. Chris Wright in that 20 car has a mirror full of 37, and Jared Rexing. A lot of people are now using that outside lane.
Yeah, 37 tonight being driven by Vincent Isabella, filling in for Ethan Burrell, who normally pilots that Domino's machine. So Vincent getting to grips right now with running up here in that 37, getting to grips with this next-gen car as well. So just right now struggling a little bit on that bottom lane following Chris Wright. It's bottled up this inside line a little bit, and that's allowed a lot of these guys up top to get on by. Johnny Thomas back on the lead lap. He's been one of the biggest gainers here. He's up to 8th position, though hanging on right now as all of these guys on fresher tires are starting to go by him. So right now as it stands, Chad Frankenfield, who was your leader, was the only guy who stayed out here. But right now he's been passed now by Jacob Adams, David Tooker, R.C. Anderson, and Matthew Weeks, who all just pitted for fresh tires on that last caution. So big changes here with Chad Frankenfield trying to make that move to stay outside, out of the pit. Trying to stay off of pit road, but right now not working out as that 15 car is plummeting down the order.
Yeah, you can see the benefit of what newer tires will do here at Bristol, even just 40 laps on them. Jacob Adams in that bright pink number 25, still looking for that first W, but David Tooker and R.C. Anderson, these guys went at it a couple weeks ago at COTA. Doing a great job so far, hanging into the mix as it doesn't get any more closer than that.
Wow, R.C. Anderson, we just got to that bumper cam as R.C. went for that, quick over-under on the 25 car, and man, I don't think he could have gotten much closer. I think if he did, that 25 car would be in the wall heading off of turn number 2, but RC then goes to the outside, gets the move done, and now suddenly Jacob Adams is losing out to guys around him as Matthew Weeks slots on by as well, and Tate Lytle looks ready to take a position on that 25 car as well here in just 1 or 2 corners time.
You got a good shot of also the rear diffuser on that race car there with R.C. Anderson behind Jacob Adams there, who's now fallen back to the 5th position. We had during the next gen test, we were able to talk to Larry McReynolds, who came on to our show, and he spoke a little bit about what that rear diffuser does there on the race car and how it actually cleans up the air. You're not traveling in as what's referred to as dirty air as much with the current generation race car versus what we see with this next gen. You actually are able to kind of use that weight from that race car in front of you and use it to your benefit more than what we see currently in the Cup Series. So that's something that I don't know if it'll play as much of a factor here, considering it's a short track, but I just thought that was interesting to hear from Larry McReynolds.
Yeah, definitely. I know that's something that a lot of, I personally follow a lot of open wheel series, and that's something that they continue to follow is if you increase the area of this diffuser, the floor area, you're requiring the underbody of the car to do a lot more to generate downforce, and therefore following another car doesn't have as detrimental of an effect. So that's great to hear, and hopefully that means that, as they continue to develop this car, it means that we can have closer racing like we've seen on iRacing, hopefully in the real world as well, as the caution, I believe, has just come out.
Fourth one of the night. David Tooker up front, RC Interstate, and Matthew Weeks, your top three.
Scott Crump was the one involved in that. Got turned by the 29 car there of Trevor Elam. Slides back up.
Oh!
Chuck Sweeting hard into that. Jared Rexing. Wow, a huge one.
Multiple cars are involved in that one there on the front stretch. The first big incident of the day, and it involves last week's winner with a heavy hit. Take a look. We ride on board with the 75 car who has nowhere to go when trouble breaks out. It happens just that quickly here at Bristol.
There you see everyone sliding in. Jared Rexing with a huge hit. We'll take a look and see his accident as well. This 10 car went absolutely flying. He tries to check up, but the 14 doesn't in time. Neither does the 15. And Rexing just a passenger after that.
Tumbling down the 33 degrees of bank. And that car very much heavily damaged. And that is a shame. I know Jared Rexing, he's been looking for that W as well. Haven't had much to celebrate there since the beginning of the season when he won the Clash. We won't have much to celebrate here tonight as well. Caution number 4, a big one in turn 2.
Yeah, other cars we saw involved in that incident. We had Brent Jones, Rusty Capel, Scott Haney, Johnny Thomas was involved in that. Michael Goodman there. Casey Hatch in the 14 car we saw. We saw Chad Frankenfield in the 15. Scott Crump, of course. Alex Vandesan, a race winner from a couple weeks ago. Yeah, a lot of really good cars torn up in that incident. Really kind of our big one here at Bristol as the track was completely blocked for a lot of these guys.
And it's so frustrating there sometimes because you could just be an innocent victim and you just have nowhere to go. In fact, I was in that very same turn with NASCAR for the Truck Series. I was watching the race, and all of a sudden there was this smoke, carnage, and 15. It seemed like 15, but like 5 trucks that were just suddenly wrecked after Austin Hill, I believe, got turned. Haley Deegan came right in front of me, right in my view, and it was just like, what happened? Like. It just, that's what's so frustrating about racing here at Bristol. It can be completely out of your control, and for a lot of those competitors involved in that last crash, it was.
Yeah, a lot of good cars taken out there. It's just, I mean, yeah, that's just Bristol, right? I mean, it's, something you really have to look out for. But for the guys up front right now, they're obviously relieved that all happened behind them. But again, I mean, you've certainly got to be a little bit nervous because all it takes is for one of these guys. I mean, heck, the leader goes around like that, and a lot of guys get involved in that wreck as well. The fact that this happened so high up in the order led to a lot of cars getting involved. And man, oh man, this race just got very interesting for all of those involved. As they have a lot of work to do here to try and get back onto the lead lap and get back to being competitive. They might still have a shot for some of them, and some of them might, might be night over.
And something about Bristol here, with the lot clicking by so quickly there, I mean, a 5-minute repair, you don't get the benefit of, the caution laps being slower here. They're really not. So you have to fix that damage quite in a hurry. Green flag is back out. David Tooker hard on the loud pedal. He gets away from RC Interstate, and Matthew Weeks is right behind him. Tate Lytle back inside the top 5. And there's Elam in that 29 as well.
Yeah, so that really didn't hurt Elam too much. He's still there in the number 29 car. Of course, Race Control didn't see that as his fault either. So good good for him to obviously survive that wreck and still be competitive here. He's going to try and move forward up on Matthew Weeks now, looking towards the inside of that 11 car. Meanwhile, Tate Lytle trying to get back to the lead of the race where he was early on in the event after taking that away from David Tooker. Right now, he's got to get back into second position by getting past R.C. Enerson in this number 55.
Right now, you see a lot of people migrating to the top lane as well. Just about 10 laps from reaching that 100 lap mark. 48 car up inside the top 10. Haven't talked much about him today, but he's doing a great job. That's Nick Massey, who's now suddenly put 3 wide. Ryan Barberi in the outside lane there. He's going to give a shove to the 31 of Gerald Campbell. And right behind them, the 64 of Andrew Rucker. He was involved in our second caution of the night. He's been able to rebound quite nicely.
Yeah, Massey put in an aggressive move there to move forward, and there you go, Barbieri almost loses it coming off of that last corner. So guys right now look like they're driving on the absolute edge. Again, just I think the number of cautions we've had in the past couple of laps, the frequency of cautions, it's starting to kind of build up a little bit. Guys, I think, are getting a little bit more desperate here because they want to gain that track position to have that whenever the caution flag comes out. You can't wait and kind of wear down a driver because you don't know. You might only have 10 laps or so of green flag running before the next caution flag comes out. So certainly it feels like the intensity's picked up here in this field as guys are starting to run just a little bit more aggressively around the racetrack, trying to make up as many positions as they can. R.C. Enerson, meanwhile, has actually gone over and taken the lead of this race. Just noticed that on timing and scoring, so he just did that on the previous lap there, getting past David Tooker, and now leads the 2 Pro Edge Toyotas in that number 5090 Motorsports Ford Mustang.
One of 4 Fords currently inside the top 10. 3 Toyotas inside the top 5, and the first bow tie we see is actually Trevor Elam in that 29 car there. But how about R.C. Enerson? We were talking about him at COTA just moments ago there. Unfortunately, that had that issue with that lap car. Didn't get the win there, but here's another spot where perhaps we see this 50 car shine, and perhaps he could get away with a win here tonight. Oop. I think we're still there.
Yeah, I still got you there.
Okay. Didn't know. As we watch these top 3 trying to put a little bit of daylight between them in 4th place. Chris Wright in that 20 car. He's been kind of inside the bottom half of the top 5 all night, but having a good clean night. Winner a couple of weeks ago, and then here you see Ryan Barberi in that 40, making the most of a substitute situation there.
Yeah, doing a really good job for that 40 crew, hanging on right now to 8th position, trying to get by Gerald Campbell again on the inside, but not quite able to get there. Campbell getting more comfortable, I think, right now in that 31 car than he was on that last run, trying to now find a way by Matthew Weeks in the 11 ahead of him. He's probably going to have to get off of that top line, though, if he wants to get by Weeks, since Weeks seems to be all the way up on the top. And we have another incident out on the racetrack.
Yellow flag number 5, just as we crossed over the 100 lap mark here, 150 to go, and cars are coming to a stop on the front stretch, almost as if a red flag. We'll take a look and see what happened. Dallas Myhan and Jacob Adams in the 37 of Vincent Isabella, who gets loose and collects both of those competitors. Looks like Jacob Adams might be able to get away there, but Vincent Isabella, not the night Ethan Burrell wanted to see out of that 37 car. They're suddenly 3 wide, and that's where we have a problem.
Oh, so I don't know. See, like, I don't know if that's netcode there. We can roll that back just a little bit there, but you can see.
I think he just got loose.
He might have just gotten loose there. Let's take a look again. It was just, I think he got, he didn't have as much space as he thought he did. Got loose there, turned that front end a little bit more, and got into that 25 car who had nowhere else to go, I think. It was just that's just a 3-wide situation. The 99 of Brandon Key also involved in that incident as well. So 25, 37, 99. All involved there. Chad Frankenfield, you see, just avoids it. The 18 of Joshua Personette just avoids it as well. I think everybody else.
44 go by. I think the 25 might be able to get away. I don't know how extremely hard he hit that outside wall, but the 37 car, major front end damage on that Toyota. He actually is going to go a lap down here. He gets passed by the pace car, so that's not going to be good for the 25 of Jacob Adams as he gets back onto the racetrack.
Rest of the field is in on pit road here.
Imagine that. There's some damaged race cars here at Bristol there, Rashov. I didn't put that in my notebook.
Yeah, man, a lot of damage throughout the field, but that's certainly not going to stop a lot of people from still moving towards the front. You can still be involved in an incident here at Bristol and then come off with a pretty significant result, I'll say that for sure. Meanwhile, a lot of our top drivers out on pit road right now. Chris Wright, Johnny Thomas are two of the guys who are staying out here, as well as Tate Lytle. David Tooker, Gerald Campbell, I think, also staying out on the... Or, excuse me, no, they all came down pit road as well. Just a little bit strange to see there, with all of the guys coming on and off pit road. But, yeah. So, Chris Wright, Johnny Thomas both staying out here, who pitted on the previous caution on lap 82. Everybody else behind them seems to have come down pit road.
They have 20-lap older tires than the rest of the field that will be starting behind them. We kind of saw... significantly, at least a 40-lap cycle, it did not fare well for Chad Frankenfield, who found himself kind of put back mid-pack and then had nowhere to go with that second-to-last caution flag, the big one in turn number 1. So we'll see if these guys can keep their track position available to them. Johnny Thomas doing a great job. Remember, he had went a lap down early in this race and has been able to significantly pass the rest of the field and get up to second place here.
Yeah, definitely. It's This continues to get interesting. We haven't even reached the halfway point in this race, and I mean, we've had a bunch of different guys, up and down the order, all over the place. I mean, Johnny Thomas, what was it, about 50 laps ago, we were talking about him barely staying on the lead lap. He's now running in second position. Obviously on, a bit of pit strategy here, but running alongside Chris Wright here as they get going. It'll be interesting to see how long these guys can hang on to their spots, if any time at all. I expect, though, Tate Lytle to quickly make work of these guys, and I think there you saw Johnny Thomas falls back already a couple positions, and here we go. Tate Lytle quickly by the 20 car. I think they're hoping for a relatively quick caution to come out and give themselves another opportunity to come down pit road.
Firing right out of the pocket was the 56 car, Tate Lytle, who's able to wrestle the lead away from the 20. There's David Tooker on newer tires as well. Gerald Campbell taking a look underneath that 20 machine. These guys have been able to clear Johnny Thomas, who is in a world full of hurt right now on those older tires, even just by 20 laps. Look at this gaggle of cars there going behind him. That's Matthew Weeks in the 11 as well. The 64, Andrew Rucker, Ryan Barbarian, Nick Massey, all with a shot to try and advance, as Tate Lytle trying to get away and has led the most laps here tonight.
Yeah, Tate Lytle led the most laps so far tonight and just set the fastest lap of the night. So Tate Lytle on an absolute tear. Actually, David Tooker just matched that and set the fastest lap of the night the following lap after Tate Lytle did. So these two Toyotas really showing their speed here at the front of the field. Gerald Campbell, who's moved up into the third position, he's now finding his footing again. Each stint, it looks like that 31's getting more and more comfortable. Look out for him, especially as this race continues to go on. Again, we know Gerald Campbell loves those short tracks, and he now sets the fastest lap of this race. So I think the track temperature has maybe gone down a little bit as the sun continues to set. It continues getting cooler into the night here, and the cars just keep getting faster and faster.
Something that we haven't seen of late, at least from the top three, is that top side really be used. A lot of these guys are still tracking on the bottom. Yellow flag number 6 is out. Caution flag will wave as Barry puts the virtual yellow flag out, and it could involve a couple of wrecked cars already. The 37 of Vincent Isabella and Brandon Key, they make contact. Vincent Isabella's around Scott Haney, gets a piece of the action in turn 1, Calamity Corner once again.
Yeah, and Vincent Isabella, I think there just calls it a night. Has not worked out too well for that 37 car. Vincent just getting used to this next-gen car, it seems, and just not quite able to really get the night rolling for him. Been unlucky, but also there, maybe a little bit of netcode as well in that incident. But, there you go. 37 car who led quite a number of laps, if not the most laps, at the NHRA night race that we ran here last season. Or, excuse me, it was the SMRI night race that we ran here last season. That 37 car, though, out early on here at lap 115.
So the 6th caution flag of the night gives us a shot and chance to go with another commercial break, so don't go anywhere. We are just shy of halfway in America's Best Value in 250. You're watching the Elite Racing Network right here at the Last Great Coliseum, Bristol Motor Speedway. We'll be right back.
My name is John Cunningham with C2 Freight Resources. We are a Hub Zone certified logistics company here in Houston, Alabama. We've been in business for over 20 years, working with the Department of Defense and the federal government, among many other customers. C2 is committed to truckload shipments along with less than truckload shipments across the United States, Canada, and Mexico. Our high level of service is what keeps our customers coming back year after year. Our industry-leading transportation management software, along with our tracking software, allow our customers to know where their shipments are at any time, any day. In closing, C2 Freight looks forward to earning your trust and business through actions day in and day out. We know if given the opportunity, you'll be pleased with our service and communication.
Welcome back here to the Bristol Motor Speedway. Before we get going, I want to thank the third of our great premier sponsors here at the Elite Racing Leagues, C2 Freight Resources, Response Energy, and of course Blue Egg Marketing, the marketing department for your small business. If you're a small business owner, Blue Egg Marketing will be your absolute biggest fan. Whatever your constraints are, they help catalyze creativity. They'll help your business punch well above their weight class and compete in whatever sector that you need to. Please check out Blue Egg Marketing. They're a proud sponsor of the number 40 car here tonight, driven by Ryan Barbieri, and a proud premier sponsor here of the Elite Racing Leagues. Of course, I also want to thank America's Best Value Inn. It's the best value, period. At America's Best Value Inn, their name says it all. Not only do you get your money's worth, but you know you're getting the most for every single dollar. Each of their locally owned and operated hotels takes pride in delivering what every guest wants, comfort and convenience at the absolute best price. It's not that complicated. Check out America's Best Value Inn. Again, a great sponsor edition here for the Elite Racing Leagues and sponsor of the America's Best Value Inn 250.
Early checkout tonight, though, there, Rashav. We still have more than halfway to go here. The Last Great Coliseum. Tate Lytle going to bring the field back under the green flag. David Tucker begins to stumble on that inside line, but he once again now fires hard on the loud pedal. Wow, Gerald Campbell with a big slide out of turn 2 as we are back underway in the America's Best Value in 250.
Yeah, Campbell, again, another slide there. So struggling right now in that 31 to just get launched here as Trevor Elam shoots up into the third position. Big shout out to this 29 car. He hasn't had too many great runs so far this season, but showing up tonight and putting on a fantastic run for Trevor Elam, the rookie here in the Cup Series, fending off the defending series champion, that is. So we'll see how long he can hang on now as Gerald Campbell goes to the outside lane, theoretically the preferred lane for overtaking here. We'll see what this 31 car can do. He does get around the 29. Will he get the run off the corner and be able to clear Elam within the next couple of corners? It looks like he is just able to do that now.
You see, now he has a mirror full, and the question remains, do you try and go up, or do you suffer the consequences there on that inside line there? I just don't think he has the confidence to go up a lane and try and block that advance by now. Andrew Rucker, who fills that spot, and Andrew Rucker, we'll give an attaboy to him as well, because as I mentioned earlier, he was involved in our second caution spinning toward turn 1 earlier tonight. In over 100 laps, he's been able to put himself back inside the top 5. So a great run by a guy who desperately needs a little bit of good luck on his side. He has been involved in quite a number of issues over the past few weeks. So a good, clean race here, especially at Bristol, that's something to hang your head high on.
Yeah, I mean, well, not a clean race for sure, but if he can get the result out of it, I mean, who cares about any of the incidents that took place during the race, right? So, yeah, right now for Andrew Rucker, up into 4th position. Not often we see that 64 this high up the order. So, again, like you said, a really good night for him. Meanwhile, as the rest of the field continues to roll along, how about Harrison Talon in this number 23 car? Another guy having really a kind of a season-best night so far tonight, running in the 9th position. Talon has been pretty quiet this season in that number 23, but is right now putting together a consistently good run. No real damage on that number 23 car either, so he's been keeping it pretty clean here as the course of the night goes on.
Anytime you can go back on the hauler without any damage at Bristol, it is quite impressive. As I mentioned there to yourself when I was here a few weeks ago there, the garage was just, oh my goodness, just rest in peace, all those cars. The pocketbooks of the team owners there. I mean, Bristol as a fan is everything you want. Bristol as a team owner, not so much.
Yeah, I was going to say, man, it must be absolutely crazy. I'd say, like, Bristol and Talladega and Daytona must be some of the biggest, actually, probably all the short tracks, now that I think about it. Bristol, Martinsville. I think you take the two smallest tracks and the two largest tracks, and you've got the biggest wrecked cars.
Definitely a sight. Also, something, since we're on that 23 car, we know history being made with Bubba Wallace a couple of weeks ago, earning his first win at Talladega Super Speedway, a major milestone for NASCAR and just minorities everywhere. But something I did not know was that was only the second win made by the number 23 car since 1954.
Wow, really? Who was the last one to...
Oh, man, you're going to put me on the spot. I know the
You gave me the fun fact. I thought you'd know the answer.
I was just thinking that. I was like, I should have written down the driver before I said it, but I will have that information for you come the next commercial break. But it was just something that a lot of us don't know. That 23 car, and it's been piloted by a number of competitors here. I go back to like Kenny Wallace, Alex Bowman at one point, J.J. Yaley.
Yeah, wow.
A lot of people have had that number and have just not had success. So another congratulations to Bubba Wallace. And Booty Baker, who was the crew chief on that race car there, getting his first win as well. Take a look at this, though. Back to the action. Trevor Elam has a mirror full of Andrew Rucker and Ryan Barberi trying to get around him.
Yeah, Elam's kind of found some pace right now as he got back past Andrew Rucker, I think it was. So Rucker maybe aggressive early on, but seems to be falling off a little bit in terms of pace as the laps start to tick down in this event. So I'm curious as to what happened there. And his tires last pitted on lap 102, but that's the same as everybody around him, so no real difference there. Might just be Andrew Rucker burnt through them a little bit early in this run, has to back off a little bit right now. Though Elam right now staying up front and continuing in that good result. Barbieri, meanwhile, trying to make the move on Andrew Rucker as he does make the move on Andrew Rucker. Now Nick Massey looking to make that.
Seeing these guys come up on some of our wrecked cars of the night there. Lap traffic always a factor here at Bristol. We are working lap 140 of 250, and that's important because now we are inside the final pit window. These guys just visited pit road there, but they're about 10 to 15 laps shy of being able to make it full race distance, and that could play a factor if we get a very long green flag run, because as you mentioned there, Rashav, the rules are different from real world NASCAR here, where you pit and you under the green flag and you use both pit stalls to go down. So you definitely don't want a yellow flag to come out during that green flag cycle. It can ruin your night.
Yeah, it absolutely can, and that's why drivers like Chris Wright, who pitted on lap 82, and Johnny Thomas kind of make me a little bit nervous. These guys have got to pit relatively soon. I'm not necessarily for fuel, but just in terms of the pace they're running. They're running significantly slower pace than everybody else on the racetrack because they have the oldest tires on the racetrack. There you see Josh Robin goes easily around the outside of this 20 car. No real competition there. They're just kind of rolling right now. It's not like the drivers are limited on tires either, because they've got 7 sets of tires that they're able to use throughout the night. I'm not too sure I agree with that call to stay out here on those last 2 cautions.
We saw just perhaps a blown call like that play out at Las Vegas a couple weeks ago with Kyle Larson. Unfortunately, just didn't have a good pit stop to go down. As we see, one competitor almost lose it as Ryan Barberi gets to the back bumper of the 29. That was close. Don't know if we're done seeing the yellow flag as of yet, but for those guys that have yet to pit, like Johnny Thompson and Chris Wright into that 20 car, and I believe who else was the other one, they're in a world full of hurt. They definitely will need the yellow flag sooner rather than later.
Yeah, it might just be those two now after some guys got involved in incidents earlier, but still, I mean, they really need a caution to come out, relatively soon, especially before they come down for fuel. So, man, that's rough right now. Obviously, with 100 laps to go, we expect to see at least one more caution in this event. We've certainly seen quite a few cautions before we hit that 100-lap mark, but I mean, once these guys get into a rhythm, sometimes it takes a long time before anybody, starts to, any cautions come out or any situations arise where we need to throw a caution. So if guys start getting comfortable, who knows?
And speaking of getting into a rhythm and perhaps a long green flag run, put me in the driver's seat there, Rashaad. We were just here 2 nights ago in the truck series here. What was it like to try and find a rhythm there? And what is it like just to race around Bristol in iRacing?
It's tricky. I mean, I'll first be the first one to openly admit I'm not a natural oval driver, so going and driving around the top and driving around the wall is something that's very unnatural to me. I'm come from the world of road courses where it's all right, shorten the racetrack as much as possible, and that's the fastest way around. But for the most part, just finding a rhythm is just difficult because pretty easily and pretty quickly a guy can show up to your inside or outside and take away half the racetrack effectively for you, because at a track like this where you're such a high speed but it's such a short track, you need to use the entire racetrack to really maximize the pace. So if you're single file here, like you see Trevor Elam running on his own, you can utilize the whole track. You'll enter a little bit lower, you see there, you'll let the car ride up towards the top of the racetrack and then kind of come back down to the bottom for the exit, is what I found to be best. But you suddenly have cars around you and you're not able to do that. So you have to be able to be comfortable driving 4 or 5 different lines around the racetrack, which is not the easiest thing in the world to do. I know that's something that I still struggled with. I was fine on my own, but you put me side by side with someone and it was tough to make an overtake, with only being able to work with about half the racetrack.
Hey, don't sell yourself short, though. You got a top 10 there tonight, or that night, and something to be proud of there, man. That is not easy to do, coming from somebody who has never gotten a top 10. So.
I appreciate that. It's a lot of work. The guys in the elite racing leagues, we watch the Cup Series here, but even in the Truck Series, everyone's so competitive, and it's an incredible field here. So, to be even anywhere close to the top 10, top 15 is a nice feeling for me, who only steps into the car once a week. So I'll take it to be able to compete with these guys.
So we are coming to 90 to go, and actually misspoke. Now will be the time these guys can make it on the end of fuel midway. So everybody's definitely outside of their pit window. They are going to need to go down pit road at least one more time as we get to lap 160. Tate Lytle still in control of this field, the point leader for Elite Season 2021B so far. Matthew Weeks in that 11 car. He's someone that's been knocking on the door of a win. He and Joshua Clark, if you remember a couple weeks ago, coming to battle to finish at Indy in what I consider to be the best finish of the year so far. Unfortunately, it just did not work out in their favor. But right now, he's in the thick of things when it could count the most here, less than 90 to go.
Yeah, there you go. So he's got to get maybe a little bit out of the way here to allow the rest of the cars there. Brent Jones has to, really let, running that top lane, again, that's another situation of you need to use the entire racetrack. So as a lapped car, it's so tough to stay out of the way because the leaders behind you want to use that entire racetrack. They want to use, whatever parts they can. They do have to, though, ultimately sacrifice something to get on by, and there's where you see that difference. But yeah, I mean, a great battle going on here with the traffic and everything. Barbieri leads Weeks and Massey, but it's all so close by on the racetrack. Gerald Campbell not too far behind these guys either. You're just trying to, slice and dice through this traffic and survive generally and maintain some of the pace here, not lose out too much time or positions.
Yeah, lap traffic always a factor in these long green flag runs, and unfortunately they played more of a starring role than what I would like to have seen in some of these finishes here. Coda and Darlington coming to mind, but so far we have been in the clear as you get through these gaggle of cars. Is Ryan Barbera. He's up into the third position there. They are 3 seconds behind second place David Tooker in Tate Lytle, who still has control of this field. Now Ryan Barberry is able to fire out of the pocket. He'll be able to clear that lap traffic. He's trying to bring along the 11 of Matthew Weeks with him. Nick Massey in that 48 car on the bottom of the racetrack. And you can see what clean air does. Even on a short track just like that, he's been able to put some considerable distance in front of the 11.
Yeah, doing a good job again for Ryan Barbieri. Can't keep praising him for the fill-in job that he's doing here for Tyler Fode. Still putting on performances worthy of that number 40 car. Meanwhile, like you said, this battle here, Matthew Weeks and Nick Massey. Massey's looked good here. He just hasn't gotten the track position quite yet today, but now starting to get to the outside of this 11 car, might peak into the top 4 for, I believe, probably the first time tonight.
Doing a great job, and he'll take that position away from the 11 car on the outside lane. Move that 48 car up a notch. That's a familiar number. Running inside the top 5. I'm looking at the last time these guys pitted here, which was lap 102. So they've put about 70 laps. I think if I'm looking at this correctly, it's at 102 that was the last lap that they were in there, Rashad.
Lap 102 was the last lap that most of these guys were in. Of course, Chris Wright and Johnny Thomas were lasting on 82, which means they might be coming close to running that tank dry here pretty soon. They desperately need a caution, I think.
You don't want to be one of the first people on pit road there as well, I would imagine, just in case the yellow flag does come out. And walk me through, so if under the green flag, does that mean they will enter pit road from the back stretch?
That's my current belief, yeah. Again, I'll see. There is a version of the track in iRacing that follows what you mentioned in real life, where you only enter pit road on the side of where your pit box is. I believe we're running, though, the full pit road. So you enter, basically, you enter pit road coming off of turn 2, I believe, and you exit also coming off of turn 2. I believe that's correct.
And that is, and if I'm correct, or if I'm incorrect, please explain, but you also have to make sure that you don't speed. Pit road speed is calculated that entire time, even around the bend into the next pit road.
Yes, it is. So you have a lot of work. It's a long, very slow process going down pit road here under green. You don't want to do that, at all. So Chris Wright, we're keeping an eye on this 20 car right now. I don't know what the fuel situation looks like. I don't really know the number of laps that we expect these guys to run here in terms of fuel, but they're getting close here. They've just passed, they're about to hit the 100 lap mark on fuel here in these cars. It must be getting close on fuel, I would only imagine, for Chris Wright and Johnny Thomas. This could be, of course, detrimental to their nights for sure.
Yeah, I believe if they go by real, I think if it's not 90, it was between 90 and at least 130, but they definitely had to make a pit stop. I still believe nobody is safe. You can't. I definitely know you cannot make it 150 laps on a full tank. So these guys, a pit stop will have to be made, and some nails, as I had mentioned earlier, will probably be bitten during that time. Hopefully you don't want to be the guy that brings out a yellow flag, trapping more than half the field multiple laps down. You see, look at this, Chris Wright, nowhere to go. A lot of lap traffic. Now it's my hand in the 41 car. Josh Robbins in that 8 car, side by side as they enter turn number 1. And still just nowhere to go. Andrew Rucker, he is one of their lead lap cars inside the top 10, just in the thick of it. Nowhere to go.
Yeah, really nowhere to go, and you see here just the sheer effect there, of getting around some of these cars. Though, I mean, to be completely fair, I mean, this is all mostly a battle for position. It's just that 44 that's blocking up that bottom lane here. The rest of these guys all competing for position, so it just shows how much closer it makes, just how much closer it makes the pack, getting by these lapped cars there. Michael Goodman trying to stay out of the way of everybody else here, but only so much you can do, on this racetrack.
Yellow flag is out, number 7 of the night. Just as we were talking about having to go down pit road, that's going to save the 91 and the 20 car. As we fall back to pace speed here at Bristol, and everybody is going to go down pit road. This will be the final pit stop of the night if the yellow flag does not come out. That was the longest green flag run of the night.
Yeah, that definitely was. It was a long green flag, of course. Like we were mentioning, Chris Wright, Johnny Thomas absolutely loved that. In terms of the car that brought out this caution, it was Trey Holmes who just basically stopped down the front straightaway. I think just, that car was finished, though despite the fact that he stopped there off the racetrack, that still was enough to bring out the caution flag. So no other word there in terms of what brought out this caution. Trying to see. Yeah, that was it. It was just Trey Holmes parking that car on the inside there was enough to bring out the yellow. So effectively call that a debris caution.
Interesting move made by iRacing officials, just like what we would question there sometimes. Real life officials there. But yellow flag, again, number 7 is out. Tate Lytle had a good lead in front of David Tooker. They had put themselves in a different zip code. I believe pit road will be open this time by now. You cannot afford a mistake right here. You see David Tooker go in, but actually Tate Lytle, he stayed out right there.
Yeah, I'm just looking at that right now. Tate Lytle staying out on the racetrack. Kendall Noah player, we expect to see Kendall Noah player making moves like that. That's a very standard call for the 94. Okay, so here we go. We are in fact doing the 2 pit lane road. So there you see that. So that does confirm the fact that Tate Lytle only had to come down the particular pit road that his pit box is in. So you don't even have to use the full pit road for caution flag situations. So how about that?
Okay. That was good, because that was going to be a serious question mark. Well, but now he looks like he's going back down the other way. I'm very confused. I'll say that out loud on air.
Bristol confused. I will say Bristol always confuses me. I'll watch a car and be like, all right, he's coming off of turn 4, they're coming off of turn 2. I couldn't tell you the difference until I see the start-finish line.
Wow, I hope he doesn't lose any positions there.
He's definitely going to lose some spots. He might have just stayed out an extra lap. I don't know what that call was, unless he missed pit road.
I believe he may have missed pit road there. You're just talking about not beating yourself up, not making a mistake. And Tate Lytle, the pole setter, not pole setter, but the point leader, might have just had that issue.
Yeah, so that's huge there for Tate Lytle. He's going to fall all the way down the order. Where is he showing right now in the grand scheme of things? Down in 13th for Tate Lytle, back out on the racetrack. One of the last cars on the lead lap. So a lot of work to be done for that 56 car, especially because the rest of the field now has exactly the same tires as him. So he doesn't have any kind of advantage with the track position that he lost. Just some miscommunication there for Tate Lytle, or a mistake entering pit road. Damn.
That is unfortunate there, but one teammate's misfortune is another teammate's treasure. Is that how the saying goes? David Tooker's going to inherit the lead. Nick Massey in that 48 car on that outside. And David Tooker deep in the points himself, but looking to break through with a win here, and it could happen tonight.
It certainly could.
Back on the loud pedal. We're back underway.
It's funny. I was talking to the guys at Pro Edge Racing earlier tonight, and the general consensus has been, and we've seen it this season, is if a Pro Edge driver has to win, at least 2 other Pro Edge Racing drivers' races have to be ruined in order to make that happen. So we'll see. We saw that at Indianapolis. We've seen that at a couple of other events so far. This season. So far, Tate Lytle maybe having a bad run there paves the way for David Tooker, and as well as Vincent Isabella, in fact. So I think they've hit that 2-car mark. So Pro Edge Racing might be set up for either Matthew Weeks or David Tooker to take the checkered flag here tonight.
Oh, but the yellow flag is out for the 8th time here before that can happen. And we will quickly fall behind the pace car once again. Don't think we're going to see.
I jinxed it, didn't I? Here we go. I think we're about to see Andrew Rucker in the 28 car of Joshua Clark get involved in a wreck. So Rucker gets spun around there. Tate Lytle just avoids.
Out of the wall. Wow, but he gets hit. Oh, and then he's collected. He did everything right before it went wrong.
Yeah, so Joshua Clark there. Just gets tapped there and then gets spun around. So Clark around. Gets hit by Johnny Thomas as well.
And as you mentioned there, Rashad, guess who was in the thick of that? Tate Lytle in the 56 car.
I think he
was able to get through that, but let's ride on board with him through that melee because of that mistake entering pit road, it puts you right in the eye of the storm.
It really does. Tate Lytle would be fortunate to avoid that without any damage. Once again, we'll take a look here from the front of Tate Lytle's car, and here we go. This is the nose cam with Tate Lytle. And we'll watch that incident happen. Look for that black car in front. There you see Andrew Rucker getting loose. He comes back up the racetrack. Tate Lytle, very smart, and just avoids the 64. No damage for Lytle. He's back in it up into the 9th position here as we're back to live pictures.
A bad day did not turn worse for our point leader there, and sometimes when you go back to the moments that perhaps can help you or define your championship run, it could be as simple as that. So he barely missed the spinning 64 car, Andrew Rucker, who, tough break, that is...
Didn't like that.
So teammates are going to be on the front row here. David Tucker and Matthew Weeks. A couple of Toyotas followed by a pair of blue ovals. That's Nick Massey and Gerald Campbell. Then Trevor Elam, the first bow tie inside the top 5, running along in the 5th position. So, yellow flag number 8. We'll step away just for a quick moment. I gotta get more water. So don't go anywhere. Oh, are we gonna go green this time, Bot? I didn't see that. Matthew, he made me second guess myself.
Well, no worries. We'll keep the pictures here for you guys, but we'll be right back here from the commentary booth.
All right. Just over 50 laps to go here in the America's Best Value N250. Hopefully none of our top 10 will have an early checkout here tonight. David Tucker checking out on the field currently right now as Gerald Campbell able to wrestle second place away from Matthew Weeks, who stumbles a little bit on that inside line. They are side by side for third. Nick Massey.
Ooh.
Whoa, the 40 car with a big slide, almost getting into Trevor Elam right there. He gathers it up. Josh Robin on his tail, and Trevor Elam with a bump. Oh. He'll get a nudge, and he'll go around in turn 3. He collects Dallas my hand. And more competitors in turn 3.
Yeah, there you go. So Josh Clark, I think, got another hit there. Michael Goodman, I think, was involved in that. Yellow flag is back out here. We'll take a look. Dallas Myhand as he watches that 29 car. So it all starts with the 29. We saw Trevor Elam. Oh, and there we go. That's already after the incident there.
Yeah, and he got a bump from the 20, but it wasn't his fault. He had gotten off the corner there kind of oddly, and the speed that he lost allowed the 20 car to hit him, and unfortunately, he just wasn't able to gather it up. Watch him. He gets loose out of the corner, or does he get, a little bit of net code right there.
Yeah, there was
that's
net
not actually
code.
Where the issue happened.
It was after the fact. They're
right
coming
there.
off the corner, and then he gets a little bit of help from the 20 car after he checks up. The 41 car involved in that. There you see the 28, the 44, the 97, the 3, all involved in that incident.
So at least 6 cars with damage there. And the guy with the worst having a good run, he had restarted inside the top 5, just didn't get going. And you could actually translate that. That all happened once the 11 car, Matthew Weeks, he really didn't get going on that inside line. And that's kind of what set that whole chain of events in motion all the way from that restart there.
Yeah, it really did. I mean, again, like we were saying earlier, a car up front gets involved in an incident, everybody behind them needs to be on, serious watch because it can so quickly go wrong for so many people. We saw that just again right there.
It just kind of snowballs, and sometimes you're lucky enough, even being one of the front competitors, to kind of drive away, but the guys behind you, they've now been put in a situation where they have to drive out, and unfortunately, the further back you go, the harder it is to not have a mistake like that, especially if you're jumbled up on a restart. And unfortunately, that accordion back all the way to 5th place, and we saw the end result. A good 6 cars there now wrecked because of it. I don't put that on the 11 car at all. I just think that just kind of set the chain of events in motion right there, unfortunately.
Yeah, it certainly did. And again, on these restarts, you're all bundled up, and one person gets slightly loose, or one person halts the momentum on a particular line, and you see just how quickly you can all kind of jumble up the field. So, yeah, I mean, a lot of cars involved in that. That's just, I think, a byproduct of some of the racing here, unfortunately. Yeah. That's just Bristol. It's Bristol, baby.
It definitely is Bristol, baby. I can say this is one of the tracks, if not the best track I have ever visited on the NASCAR Cup Series circuit here. I had so much fun here a couple of weeks ago, especially the drama unfolding where we saw the rivalry born between Chase Elliott and Kevin Harvick. This track is something else there, man.
Yeah, it's definitely from everything I've heard, it's definitely an experience and something that every NASCAR fan should experience. So something I definitely try and get myself out to at some point. But yeah, man, I mean, getting to enjoy these races here on iRacing, you certainly get a feeling just for the style of races here, of course, at Bristol. And man, these guys are going for it. People want to win at Bristol. It's one of those racetracks that you really just you just want to be the guy to cross that checkered flag and grab that checkered flag first.
All right, so less than 45 laps to go here. Green flag returning back to the racing surface. And we are back underway as David Tooker once again gets away from Gerald Campbell, last year's defending reigning champ. They go around the wounded car, Scott Crump.
Yep, so Scott Crump has to get out of the way there. So Campbell right now, we mentioned he kept getting better with each run. He's now chasing down our leader as the yellow flag is back out. And it might be the 40 car of Ryan Barbieri involved in this one. Let's take a look here.
Did he get a push?
Oh, he did. A netcode push, though. It was a push from Chad Frankenfield, but it was definitely netcode there. We'll go back to this and take another look. But I think what we're about to see here is... Ooh, we might not quite see it there.
I think that's more than netcode. I think that was actual touch right there. Just ever so much.
Yeah, that might have been a real touch there from Chad Frankenfield. So Frankenfield gets into the rear bumper of the 40 car, sends Barbieri into the outside safer barrier, and the caution flag comes out once again. The question, of course, is, did anybody else get caught up in that? I think everyone else did a good job of avoiding that particular wreck.
He did a good job kind of keeping that out of the wall there.
Ooh, here we go.
Gerald Campbell, he's going to go down pit road. Why not? This might be the perfect time to try something and take the advantage. These guys that are staying out, they were last on pit road, lap 188. Even though we've had a little bit of yellow fever taking over the Speedway, this will be an advantage to these guys that are down pit road. I believe we only have 13 or so cars on the lead lap, so they're not going to restart desperately that far behind. The question is, will they have enough time to make up in the laps that are left here at Bristol? But I do like this call by the 31.
Yeah, it's an interesting call. I definitely like the call here, and we'll see how it plays out for Gerald Campbell. Obviously, like you said, he drops down to probably the lowest position here is going to be around 10th position, I think. So for Gerald Campbell, really no major loss for him. The question is, can he regain that track position? Is there enough of an advantage over everybody in front of him to kind of regain that track position? Reminder, a lot of guys in front of him have pitted somewhat recently. The guys all the way up front, like David Tooker, Matthew Weeks, and Nick Massey, have not pitted since lap 188. But Chad Frankenfield was 196. Adams was 189. Tate Lytle was 203. Chris Wright, 203. Joshua Clark, 196. Johnny Thomas, 204. So not significantly newer tires here for Gerald Campbell, but it might be just enough here to be able to work his way back up to where he was.
Caution number 10 of the night here. Averaging one about every 15 laps or so. We did get a pretty long run, though.
Yeah,
about a 70-lap stretch there.
It's been a pretty, unfortunately, it's been a lot of yellows here back to back and late in the running here, which I think has kind of slowed down the pace of this event. I mean, I think before we were on track to complete this race in less than an hour and a half, which would have been extremely impressive in the grand scheme of things. So, yeah, just late race cautions here coming out, and I think guys are, of course, getting more aggressive on each of these restarts, and that leads us to of course, getting into a a position here where we're just getting caution after caution.
The guy that wants to see these yellow flags perhaps might be Tate Lytle. He's been able to work his way back up into the 5th position there, and he's had, if not the strongest car of the night, but he's marred back there behind a couple of blue ovals Fords, and then he's got to get to his teammates there who have control currently right now. 2:14 about to be put on the leaderboard. Matthew Weeks does a great job keeping tempo with his teammate, but David Tooker is back away with the lead.
Yeah, and we haven't talked much about David Tooker in the grand scheme of things tonight, but I mean, has done a great job. Obviously, your pole sitter, and has really led a lot of the laps as well. I think it's probably split right now between himself and Tate Lytle in terms of who's actually led the most laps here tonight. I think Tate might just have the edge with that long run lead, but David Tooker's probably led the most restarts tonight, and he just keeps doing a good job here on these restarts, getting early jumps. And you were saying Tate Lytle might be the guy who wants the most cautions. I think David Tooker right now would love to have a bunch of cautions, because look at how he starts. On these restarts, he gets away to huge gaps. Just set the fastest lap of this event that last time by, and does it again this next time by. So David Tooker flying on these restarts. He loves these short runs. I think he starts to fall off just a little bit as the run gets longer and longer. So if we have a bunch of cautions, I think the biggest benefactor is going to be this 19 car.
Matthew Weeks, though, inside, about a second behind his teammate there, then Chad Frankenfield, who was the cause of our last caution there. Hopefully he and the 40 don't find themselves back on the track. But Chad's done a great job to get back up inside the top 5. Tate Lytle there running up in the 4th position. He's been able to take a position away from Nick Massey in that 48 car. And then look at Jacob Adams in that 25 car. He was involved in that big crash with about 110 laps in. So he's been able to use that, basically another 110 laps to solidify himself back inside the top 10. And he's knocking on the door of a top 5 right here with a damaged race car.
Yeah, again, a great recovery drive here. You really can have those types of drives if you get the damage early enough, here at Bristol. Meanwhile, Lytle up into the 3rd spot now. It's a PER 1-2-3 Pro Edge Racing, leading the way ahead of the rest of this field. Chad Frankenfield, the first of the non-Toyota machines, running in the 4th spot. But yeah, Jacob Adams right now looking extremely strong on that top line, looking to try and make a move here on the other pink car in the field of the 15 of Chad Frankenfield.
Just behind them, the guy with the newest tires there, a couple of them, that's Josh Robin and Gerald Campbell. They've got to make light work of these pink Toyotas, or excuse me, pink Fords up front, because in order to get the most use out of those new tires there, they're going to need every lap they have, and it's winding down, 25 to go next time by.
Yeah, laps are winding down really quickly here, but you can see Adams and Frankenfield going side by side around the racetrack means there's no way to go for Gerald Campbell in terms of getting by. He has to pick a lane here and kind of choose who to push along the racetrack and kind of trust that one of these guys is going to get the advantage. Honestly, if I was him, I might say it's a tough call to go for, but Adams feels like the stronger bet right now over Frankenfield. Frankenfield, I think, hanging on just with that outside lane. Adams might just have that faster car, but for Gerald Campbell, he just needs to try and stay in touch with these guys. There you go. I think he's giving some help to Frankenfield to allow both those guys to now clear Jacob Adams. So good call, actually, from Gerald Campbell. I definitely would have been fired if I was his spotter. But here he goes. past the 25 and now trying to get his way into the top 4.
Yeah, he's brought along Josh Robbins, who has an excellent car so far right now. He on the same strategy as Gerald Campbell here. He was able to follow that 31 car, who now dives, makes a nice hard turn to the right, or excuse me, the left, as he dives underneath the 15 car and trying to use the inside line to his advantage there. He'll do so, but 20 laps to go. Is it enough time to run down those leaders? Tate Lytle has been able to clear this battle and has now set his sights on his teammates in front of him.
Yeah, I think, I don't know if he'll have enough time to do it if we stay green all the way to the end. If we get a caution and that bunches everybody back up, Gerald Campbell might be the man to look out for since he's cleared all of these other cars. He now just has those top 3 drivers to deal with. They got to get by Zach Evans here in the 6th there. A rough night for Zach Evans, but they get by cleanly. He gets out of the way nicely, and Gerald Campbell slides up in front of the 15 car. He's safely into the 4th position. Meanwhile, up front, David Tooker leads by about 0.3 from teammate Matthew Weeks. A further half a second behind Weeks is teammate Tate Lytle. And then 1.5 seconds back is Gerald Campbell. So Campbell now has to start working on that gap. Or does he stay patient right now and hope that there's a late race caution? He's going to have to put some of that tire to work here, I think, to close the gap.
Right now, those guys are going to be battling. I know they're teammates right now, but there's still a win on the line. And with less than 20 to go, I think Matthew Weeks might have been able to catch David Tooker. The question is, how do you get past him? And how you race your teammate here at Bristol is different than how you would race somebody else. But that's still going to go out the window, perhaps with 10 laps to go. Everybody's trying to fight for that important checkered flag. I know David Tooker, he's been so close before. He's not going to let this lead go all willingly. And now, let's add lap traffic into the mix as well, as if that's not.
Yeah,
the action isn't already heating up.
No kidding. We'll take a look here at what the field looks like, and you can see just how jumbled up it is. There's the 64 and 41, the next 2 lapped cars for them to pass. They're going to be tough to pass as well because those are not slow lapped cars. Dallas Myhand, Andrew Ruckers are both down a lap, but due to incident, they might still have some pace in their machines. Though right now, maybe enough damage on them to be slow enough to make life relatively easy for David Tooker. And then he's got a big enough gap where he might not have to deal with Brent Jones or the 6 car of Zach Evans before the end of this race, but we'll keep an eye out on that. That's what the tracker looks like right now. Tooker easily by Rucker, just has to get by Myhand, and then the 6 car of Zach Evans might be the last of the lapped cars for David Tooker tonight.
And the best friend to David Tooker right now might be Tate Lytle, who's trying to get around Matthew Weeks. These guys battling for second place, allowing David Tooker ever so much to slip away. You can see the 11 car actually goes to the bottom of the racetrack. Here comes Tate Lytle, who used the outside lane to his advantage. He gets the run off the corner. He'll bypass the 11 car entering the corner. Now it'll be a clean racetrack. Can the 56 car run down his teammate less than 8 laps to go the next time by?
Yeah, this right here has been the drive, honestly, of a regular season champion from Tate Lytle. What a job he's done. He's been all over the place in terms of positions over the racetrack, but he always, on a long run, finds his way towards the front of the pack, putting together the result. Tate Lytle right now showing why he deserves to be the regular season championship when at the end of tonight we'll have just 2 races to go. He will likely extend that lead if he stays in his current position. Certainly a drive to be proud of for Tate Lytle. Certainly a drive by all 3 of these guys to be proud of by team owner Ethan Brell, who I know has tuned in via YouTube. So hello, Ethan. Thanks so much for tuning in. You must be pretty happy with what your drivers have been doing so far tonight.
Yeah, we're under about a minute and a half left of green flag racing. You have to go back, though, and that's something that we'll ask about with Tate Lytle as far as that pit stop there that kind of changed everything with lap 188. He waited 1 lap and unfortunately had to restart there back up in the 10th position. It's not over, though. You can see him right there trying to muscle around, but 4 laps to go. The battle is between Pro Edge Racing teammates there, the Toyotas of David Tooker, Tate Lytle, and Matthew Weeks still waiting should things get physical between the top two.
Yeah, this is where you maybe get a little bit nervous as Tooker, so it looks like they will, in fact, just catch this back group of lap traffic here in time. And these guys are fighting for position. They're fighting for every spot they possibly can here. They'll try and stay out of the way of David Tooker, but man, oh man, if you're Tooker, you're right now just so worried about what these guys are doing. You know you have less of the racetrack that's going to slow you down. Tate Lytle's getting closer in your mirror. The laps are winding down. You just start getting really nervous about the end of this race. But for Tooker, he's staying calm. He's doing everything he needs to do. He's going to line up here behind his teammate. He knows Josh Clark will get out of the way for him. 1 lap to go.
White flag in the wind here. Tate Lytle stuck in lap traffic. It won't be enough. The pole setter, David Tooker, has run a flawless race tonight, and he'll be rewarded with the checkered flag at America's Best Value in 250. David Tooker, your winner here tonight at Bristol.
What a drive by David Tooker from pole position to the victory. Obviously, it wasn't as straightforward as it'll look like in the stat books, but what a drive. I mean, fantastic job. Just had the pace. Really just had an answer for everybody here today. I'm sure he's going to get a ton of congratulations from his teammates. David Tooker, another winner for Pro Edge Racing, and of course, Pro Edge Racing grabbing 1, 2, 3 finishes here. We're going to talk to all 3 Pro Edge drivers in just a moment here. But how about that for a finish there? Once again, Ethan Burrell must be a proud team owner there. But yeah, what a drive by all of these guys, really showing off the speed that those Toyotas found here tonight at Bristol.
It's just a great job. And another win by a driver that was kind of outside, I believe, at least the top 10 in points there. So our playoff grid is really starting to take shape with some new names that have had issues throughout the season. I know David Tooker, he was involved in quite a number of incidents. Darlington, New Hampshire, had a good run at Coda, but just unfortunately just didn't have the pace in order to battle for the win. But he gets the win here tonight, and I know that is a very happy gentleman inside that race car there. I'm very proud. I raced with Tooker. I consider him to be one of my original PS3 friends that kind of showed me the way of racing. When I first got my PS3, this is back with NASCAR Inside Line, so almost 10 years ago, and he is a wheel man behind anything, both in iRacing and in real life, and I'm glad to see him enter his name into the playoff grid here with the Elite Racing Network. Congratulations to him as you take a look at the rest of the top 10 here tonight.
Yeah, there you see there, just 6.5 tenths of a second there at the end between Tooker and Lytle, but it still ended up being that 19 car who walked away with the victory. That lap traffic was enough. He did enough during all of those runs. And, well, let's bring in that race winner for the first time this season. David Tooker, race winner here at Bristol Motor Speedway. What a drive tonight from pole to the victory. Obviously not that straightforward of an, as the record book will say, but it must feel good.
Yes, that one definitely hits home for sure. It just a great race overall. You know, I knew going in to this race, you know, we don't typically run too green here, especially with this car. You know, we're a second faster than last year's Cup car. So just the speed difference and just this track in general, this track being so tight to race on, and just it felt the car and track combo just felt great. Tires were good all night. The racing itself created a great product. I felt like tonight was definitely a success for Bristol, but couldn't be happier with the result.
You talked about how this race car is different there, but now it seems like people are beginning to find their footing. We've talked to a number of drivers who are having some great nights, including you. You're not so high up in the points. You weren't entering this race. Now you know that you'll be racing for a championship. Walk me through what it's been like, the learning curve on this new car, and what do you think your chance of success is for the rest of the season after recording your first win?
You know, this car is put us through the ringer. Just trying to find the limits every single weekend. It's a new track we go to every single weekend, so the limits are going to be pushed farther and farther. And it comes down to, you know, really a driver. The drivers come out, not so much the cars. But, you know, like I said, this car has been a learning curve, that's for sure. Guys that you'd expect to run well just haven't really run well, like myself. Have not had the best results in this side of the series, but I think tonight I knew going in I had to have a good run, and I've put together quite a few good runs, but just haven't had the results that I'm looking for. And tonight I knew Bristol was not necessarily my best track, but one of my favorites, top 5 for sure, or at least on the sim. And I knew tonight going in with this car that there was going to be some people that were going to be pushing the limits a little bit harder than others, and I found a very comfortable line, a very comfortable braking point, and just once I got to that, I felt like the pace was there. If we were running top 3, it felt like the whole race, and to finally put together a good run and have it be a win at a track I wouldn't expect, definitely feels good.
Well, David, I mean, obviously a great breakthrough for you in terms of, the Elite Cup Series, but, this is the first time we've talked to you, at least in a little while this season. I don't know if this is actually the first time we've talked to you as a whole this season, but I also wanted to ask about, the fact that you are one of the few drivers here in, the Elite Cup Series that actually races in real life, and I wanted to give you a chance to talk about some of your real life racing that you've been doing here in the past couple of weeks, especially, outside of Elite.
Just last weekend we were up at Sonoma Raceway, running the NASA NorCal event series, and it's a great series to run. There's tons of guys that are just there just to have fun. Really, it's nothing too serious, but at least part of me doesn't try to take it too serious. But it's always fun just to get out there and run some laps at your home track, and actually ended up pulling home a couple top 10 finishes and got myself into the top 5, but had an unfortunate mechanical failure, so I couldn't get to where I felt like I could have finished. But I think just having that real life experience has definitely shaped the learning curve for me, at least on the sim as well. I think it works both ways. I'm doing road course racing stuff in real life, and to come over to oval, it's a whole different type of experience. But just the knowledge of how hard you can push a car right from the get-go definitely helps. It helps bend that learning curve a little bit more in your favor. But like I said, tonight just couldn't ask for a better finish.
All right, well, congratulations there, David Tooker. We know you have a couple of people you want to shout out to, so we'll let you finish that off.
Just this whole Pro Edge team. I knew tonight we definitely had some speed with Tate running, me and him running 1-2, Weeks getting up there in the top 5 as well, and I knew we had the pace as a team to definitely compete for the win. Unfortunately, a couple heavy hitters got taken out early. I can name a few: Scott Crump, Chris Wright, a couple others, but those were definitely the 2 names that I saw up there in the top 5 for the most amount of time, and Nick Massey. But coming into tonight, I knew we definitely had winning pace, and we just had to put it together and keep ourselves out of the mess. And luckily we did, and brought home a 2nd and 3rd, I believe. I haven't checked the results yet, but brought home a 2nd and 3rd and win. So it's always nice to bring that home. But also want to give a shout out to Jonathan Smith. He's the one that painted all our Pro Edge cars, and his really just immaculate work. There's nothing else I could really say about that, but he has put in the work this off season to get us these paint schemes, and I couldn't ask for a better guy to do it for me, and more than happy to run his designs. I love them.
All right,
he definitely has an eye for that. So congratulations there, David.
All righty, thank you guys.
All right, that was your race winner, David Tooker, who punches his ticket into the chase. We're about to talk to now our 2nd place finisher, Tate Lytle. And Tate, I did just see your tweet. Disappointed with the 2nd place finish here. I know it was a pretty up and down day for you. You kind of got mired a little bit in the pack for a little bit and had to work your way back up to 2nd. Talk us through your night and your feelings on this result.
Yeah, we got the lead early. Lost it for like 40 laps during pit cycles. And then got the lead again and led for a long, long time. And then when that caution came out, I was off in La La Land and missed pit road and had to pit and went back to like 13th and then had to charge away through and still thought I was going to have a chance. I just didn't have enough tire left by the time I got clear of the 11 to have any chance at Tooker. But, I mean, he was fast all night too. So, I mean, it was going to be one of us 1-2 for sure. I wish it was reversed the other way.
It was hectic tonight there, and we noticed that. We at first were concerned because we saw you go down pit road after we were thinking maybe you just decided to save your race car right there, but unfortunately, just a mistake. But you're still the point leader here. You're having some great consistent runs. We are consistently talking to you at the end of these races. I mean, what does a night being disappointed with second? I mean, talk to me. Does that really hurt you as far as your shot for a championship here tonight? It looks like you're still firing on all 4 cylinders or all 8 cylinders. My God, I can't talk.
I'd call it like 7.5. We just can't make those mental errors toward the end of the season. Obviously, I love Tucker. He's a teammate. So, I mean, I'm happy to see him win. But if that was for a championship, it'd be a little more heartbreaking. But, I mean, to be mad, disappointed about a second-place finish at Bristol in a car that I'd never driven there before, I mean, it says a lot about how we've done this season. I feel like me and all my Pro Edge teammates have taken strides this season. And, I mean, you saw it tonight. I think we swept the podium. And I don't think we quite swept the podium Monday night, but there was one point where we were like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I think it just says a lot about where we are and how we mesh as a group and how much fun we have racing with one another. And I feel like that goes a long way when you're out here racing, 2-3 times a week. I mean, some of these people take it so seriously, and we do too. But it's just something fun to look forward to after a rough Wednesday at work, and to get to hang out with those guys and run maybe 50 too many, but 250 laps at virtual Bristol and actually get some green flag racing and have to pass lap cars and deal with traffic. It was a fun night. So bummed to get P2, but proud of us as a team, proud of me as a driver, and proud of us as a league to be able to put on the show we actually gave you guys tonight. And we'll take the points lead. And I think we got like 260 some laps at Atlanta next week, so we'll go try and get them there.
It'll certainly be a busy night there, man. But again, still a lot to be proud of for sure. It was a drive of a champion to recover back up to second, so something to be proud of there. And again, want to give you a chance to make some shout outs here before we let you go.
Yeah, I mean, I already kind of did, but all my Pro Edge teammates, you guys for sitting up here for minimum wage, less than probably, for an hour and a half watching us race fake race cars. Chad for putting up with all the BS that he does to deal with us and give us a platform to race. Days Gone By for hooking me up with my car and helping me along the way. I just ordered a couple hats from him yesterday, so go check him out. Days Gone By on Etsy. He's got a link in his Twitter. Not that hard to find. Pretty reasonably priced vintage racing apparel. I mean, I always say if you're sticking around this late to listen to me talk, then you like racing a little more than the average being. So go check that out. And yeah, we'll go get them next week. Thanks, guys.
All right. Congratulations again on second place, Tate Lytle. All right. Definitely.
Certainly not least there. Matthew Weeks, you have him.
Yeah. Definitely not a super happy Tate Lytle there with the result at the end of it. But we'll bring in third place finisher Matthew Weeks, then finishing up that Pro Edge Racing sweep of the podium positions. Talk about your night, man. Again, up and down night for you, but ended up was running up there inside the top 5 towards the end, made the moves to get into the top 3, and ultimately lost out on second to teammate Tate Lytle, but still must be pretty happy with that result.
Yeah, I'm good. It was a long night starting back there in 20th. I felt like I had probably a 7th place car maybe on the long run. I was okay short run, but to finish P3 at Bristol was good. And man, Tate was fast. If he didn't miss up on pit road, he had that, I think.
Walk us through what it's like racing with your teammates right there. I mean, even at a place like Bristol where anything can happen, you guys seem to find a rhythm there. Do you guys like just share notes, or what's it like having all 3 of you guys have really good nights here tonight?
It's good. It just shows how consistent we really are, because we seem to bring speed every week. And racing those guys, I can race them as hard as I can. I know and I can trust them not to wreck me or do anything wrong. They're just fun to race against.
Yeah, Matthew. I mean, you've obviously been trending in a better direction here. Missed out on a couple of wins over the course of the past couple of weeks, but seem to have the pace to really be competitive up front. What do you think you have to do here in the next 2 weeks before the chase begins to really settle yourself in as a championship threat?
Win a race. I think I need to show that I can win a race. If I don't win a race, I don't think I'll make the Final Four if I do make the playoffs. I mean, I think I have a good point guard, but I think going into Atlanta, and I don't know what the next race is, I need to win and gain as many points as I can before we get there.
All right, well, Matthew Weeks, we certainly have seen improvement out of that race team from you there as of late. So looking forward to see what you can do these next 2 weeks, and perhaps talking to you first here, just a moment away. Want to give you the chance to give a shout out to anybody you'd like here.
Shout out to, the Jordan Owens and SMRI for sponsoring the car, and John making these schemes, JD Designs, check him out, dude. He does amazing work. The Pro Edge guys being fast every week. You guys up in the booth, man. It's good stuff.
All right, man. Congratulations again on the top 3 finish. Looking forward to seeing you finishing off this season strong here. So congratulations again on P3 tonight.
All right, thank you guys. Y'all have a good one.
All right, Matthew Weeks there, the third and final of the Pro Edge Toyotas that sweep to the podium here tonight. What a race.
Yeah, definitely. I think you heard it from all 3 of them. That Pro Edge racing team really seems to be firing on all 8 cylinders. I mentioned 4 because that's normally what I talk about with my own car. But definitely an eventful night. We saw some big wrecks. We expected some big wrecks. Saw some bumping and banging. This to me is Bristol. It's what it's all about. But we also saw the cream of the top rise to the top. Cream of the crop rise to the top. I really cannot talk today right now. It's late. It has just been a great race though to cover, and I am looking forward to next week. I believe we have 400 miles, so that'll be a full length race at Atlanta next week, right?
Yes, it will be. So it'll be a long one. So make sure those of you tuning in at home, you settle down. Sit down with a nice drink and a snack, and get ready for a long race next week. But it'll be an intriguing one. Just 2 to go before we get to the chase. So again, a lot on the line for these drivers. Guys are going to be more aggressive than ever, making moves that are tougher to make, and pushing as hard as they possibly can to kind of make up that difference if they're below the cut line. So definitely a lot to look forward to. I, for one, cannot wait for that. But excited from tonight. Happy we were able to keep it in here, but in under about an hour and 45 minutes. So a nice short race. Really great to see guys again continuing to improve, especially on short tracks with these next gen cars.
Still keeping up the statistic that we've had a different winner here over the past now several weeks. So looks no repeat winner yet this season. So that is something to note as we head to Atlanta. We'll see. I believe we'll still be on the old racing surface. I don't believe Atlanta's actually released, or iRacing's released the new Atlanta. That'll be in the real world for 2022. But that's a place that eats up tires here. We'll be talking about tire management and all of it starting at 8 Eastern Standard Time next Wednesday. So make sure you join us about 30 minutes earlier. That's how we do these full-length races. Don't want to miss it. It is sure to be exciting. Another congratulations going to go to the 19 car, David Tooker, your winner here at Bristol, America's Best Value N250. Again, thank you to all of our sponsors for the Elite Racing Network. Chad, who does so much work. Rasavi, you do so much as well to producing this. It's always been a blast covering the race with you. I look forward to it every Wednesday night. But from all of us here from the Elite Racing Network, so long. We will see you next Wednesday at Atlanta. Have a great night.